Welcome to WID, helping millions understand the money behind America's biggest stories, because every dollar has a story. And today, we're decoding this one. So, what if the biggest difference between everyday wealthy families and, well, everyone else isn't actually how much money they earn? The truth is, it's how they think about the next 30 years. Millions of hardworking Americans earn really great incomes, but they still struggle to build lasting wealth. Meanwhile, there are these families that have preserved their wealth for generations, and they do it through these quiet, under-the-radar habits that literally never make the headlines. But man, do they work over decades. Let's picture two families, right? They're earning the exact same income. Now, family A, they treat every single raise as a green light for an immediate lifestyle upgrade. Got a bonus? Great, time for a nicer car. But then you have family B. They quietly take that exact same bonus and put it straight into education, businesses, diversified assets, and long-term planning. To your average observer, they don't look any richer today. But you fast forward 30 years, and their financial futures are completely different, like night and day. So, that brings us to the big question. What actually separates lasting wealth from just temporary success? Well, in this decode, we're going to uncover the historically proven, totally timeless principles behind America's wealthiest families. We want to figure out exactly what we can grab from their playbook and apply to our own lives right now. Section 1. The Generational Wealth Mindset. If we really want to understand how families stay wealthy, we have to completely stop viewing wealth as this sudden magical event. It's not a lottery win, it's not a massive inheritance, or hitting the jackpot on a lucky stock pick. We have to start seeing it as a process. It is the continuous compounding of disciplined decisions, productive assets, and knowledge over generations. It takes time, patience, and just absolute consistency. But here's the thing. The richest families often measure this process entirely differently than you'd expect. Section 2. The Non-Negotiable Habits, Building the Foundation. So these non-negotiable habits, they're basically the daily routines that wealthy families just do not compromise on. It's the engine of that compounding process we just talked about. They zero in on productive assets, continuous learning, building businesses, and philanthropy. And by consistently living below their means, they make sure any extra capital goes straight into investments that actually grow, rather than dropping it on depreciating luxuries. They aren't trying to look wealthy, you guys. They're trying to be wealthy. And that means focusing your money on things that actually generate future value. Section 3. Teaching the next generation, keeping the wealth. Now, this is the crucial pivot from making money to actually keeping it. There is this one incredibly overlooked habit that quietly separates families that build lasting wealth from those who just earn high incomes, and it's the deliberate transfer of knowledge. It kicks off with structured financial education, leans heavily on teaching delayed gratification, and it finishes by giving wealth a purpose beyond just, having money. Look, some families pass down a secret recipe for lasagna, right? Others pass down a meticulously organized filing system and a mandatory lesson on compound interest. It really highlights a pretty powerful philosophy. The most valuable inheritance isn't always money. Instilling resilience, robust decision-making skills, and a rock-solid work ethic, that is what creates true long-term security for kids. Because without those character traits firmly in place, honestly, any financial inheritance, no matter how massive it is probably going to vanish in the hands of an unprepared generation. Section 4. Preserving Wealth, Systems, and Safety Nets. When we're talking about a family's financial legacy, hope is absolutely not a strategy. You need structural safety nets because there are two huge contrasting forces constantly at play here. On one hand, you've got wealth preservers. Think diversification, estate planning, and risk management. These are systematic boundaries. But on the flip side, you have the wealth destroyers. Excessive leverage, family conflict, short-term thinking. Wealthy families build super strict, unwavering systems to stay as far away from those destroyers as possible. Because one generation of bad decisions, it can literally wipe out 3 generations of hard work. If we dig a little deeper into those destroyers, there are a few incredibly common mistakes that you just have to avoid. Overspending simply to keep up appearances, totally ignoring financial education, and terrible succession planning. Falling into these specific traps can quickly, and I mean quickly, unravel decades of disciplined hard work and create this lasting family instability. It's actually remarkably easy to destroy wealth if you let your ego take control of the checkbook. Section 5. The Housing Connection, a Stable Foundation. Interestingly, as we put together this explainer, we found that real estate often plays a highly nuanced role in building this stable foundation. Though, quick caveat, it's definitely not the only path for everyone. But true housing resilience, it involves disciplined saving for stability, responsible low-risk borrowing, and long-term neighborhood investment. Making smart, disciplined housing decisions contributes so much to a family's broader financial confidence. It basically acts as a physical, reliable hedge when the economy gets a little rough. Section 6. Ordinary Families, Everyday Applications. Okay, so let's bridge the gap from these big historical observations right down to our own lives. What can an ordinary family actually learn from all this? Look, we don't all have millions of dollars sitting around, but the mechanics of wealth building, they are exactly the same. Here are some highly actionable steps for everyday life. First, build a solid emergency fund. Second, continually develop valuable skills so you can boost your earning power. Invest consistently, whatever your risk tolerance allows. And finally, create a written financial plan. I know, family budget meetings might never be your favorite Sunday tradition, but trust me, they are way more rewarding in the long run than any impulse purchase. Section 7. The WID Discovery, Generational Blueprint. Which brings us to the ultimate blueprint for generational success. Let's consolidate everything we've uncovered into a simple timeline. Decade 1, you invest in knowledge. Decade 2, you buy assets before luxuries. Decade 3, you protect what you've built. And Decade 4, you stay adaptable. These foundational mindsets compound so powerfully when you commit to thinking in decades rather than dates. It forces you to just zoom out and make decisions that your future self, and for sure your future family, will absolutely thank you for. All right, as we wrap up today's decode, let's hit our key discoveries. When you strip it all away, it really boils down to this. Wealth is a process. Habits compound, relationships matter, and time is your ultimate advantage. You absolutely do not need to be born wealthy to leverage time, knowledge, and consistent habits to secure your family's future. The math and the principles work exactly the same for everyone. You literally just have to be willing to start the process today. Remember, every dollar has a story, and now you know this one. See you in the next decode. But hey, before you go, I really want to hear from you. Take a look at your own life right now. Which one of these habits are you committing to starting this month? And on the flip side, which one do you think is quietly destroying the most wealth around us today? Drop a comment below. Your answer might just be the exact thing that inspires someone else to finally take action.
WID, Wealth in Depth. Every dollar has a story,